quick before I forget. I'm going to record it so we can have a recording of it, and those that couldn't make it tonight can also see it. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to show you a buyer lead that I created so you guys can see what it looks like. And automatically will be assigned to them if you've got your smart campaigns on. So when you go to your marketing tab right here, you'd go down to smart campaigns over here, click on smart campaigns. In smart campaigns, you should have these already here. And you'll also have the KVCORE library up here, which we're going to look at that KVCORE library in just a moment. But right now, you should probably not have these check marks. So if you check mark it, it'll actually go ahead and allow you to look at the campaign and make sure you turn the status to on. And all you do is you toggle the switch over here, and it should turn on. It says, do you want to turn it on? Yes. So what it tells you is that this default new lead buyer, which is basically what happens with your new leads that you add on there, tells you what the status is. Status is new lead, designed for buyer. It has 43 touches that's included in this campaign. Okay. And if you want to actually see what those touches are, you can click on default new lead buyer, and it's going to basically show you what those leads are. I'm going to come over here. You can take a look. It tells you how quickly or the time that action is going to happen, what the method is, the name assigned to that actual task or method, and then who is it going to. The system is KVCORE. And basically what KVCORE is doing is assigning a task to the agent that's in charge of this lead. And it's going to do that immediately for a new lead status that comes in on the buyer side. Okay. Immediately, it's also going to let the agent know to call and leave a voicemail for this lead. All right. Now, if you click on the edit button to the right, this edit button here, you'll actually see what it says. Send a text or email with properties in their area. Okay. And this is assigned to the agent. I'm going to click save, and I'm going to show you guys how that's done. Then if you take a look, it says 7 minutes after this, send a text or SMS message to the from the agent to the contact. Okay, this is a manual text message that you will be sending. Now, you've already called them, left them a voicemail because you didn't get a hold of them. Sending a text message comes 7 minutes after that. And then on day one, it's going to send an email to, you're going to have the agent send an email to the contact. So all these are essentially for now is basically just tasks that are assigned to you. You can also take a look and edit here. It'll show you right here the email that'll be going out, and it's already templated. So what I would recommend is don't touch these things right here, because these are place fillers for your for the lead that comes in. So it goes all the way down. If you take a look, 720 days. That's almost 2 years of automatic lead nurturing for that. Okay, now I want to show you what that actually looks like so you can see what it is. So what I did is I went ahead and I created my new buyer lead named Cash Buyer. Okay, and this new buyer lead, because they came in as a buyer and I had selected them as a new lead under the task, and I'll show you guys how to do that when you're adding them. If you take a look, I added them to the campaign here. See where it says active campaigns? Automatically added them. If it didn't automatically add them, you can always come in here, click on add, and then under the campaign, you would have default new buyer. Now you notice it's just new seller only because they're already in this new buyer lead campaign, and you would click add if it doesn't automatically add them in there. But this ad campaign here already tells me that I have a task. I have to send a text message, which was assigned to me as the agent, and it's due today, right? 12/21/22. If I want to see what else is going to happen with this lead, right up here to the right, you see where it says show future touch points 39. So if I click on that, it's going to show you the next thing that's going to happen. So December 21st, which is tomorrow, right, at 6:48 p.m., because that's when I had added this buyer, Cash Buyer, to my database, it's going to send this email out. And it's going to come from you as the agent. Okay. Thanks for checking out, and then I'll have your website URL. Are you looking to buy soon or just browsing at this point? Regards, your first name and last name as the agent, your office information, your cell phone, and your email. Okay. Now, December 22nd, which is 2 days after, going to send another email. December 22nd, it's also going to assign you a task to call, but this time it says don't leave a voicemail. December 23rd, it's going to send another email. Okay, December 23rd, it's going to ask to call. December 25th, which is Christmas, it says buyer offer to set up alert. So set up a possible listing alert on here. And it says, I was about to set up some alerts that will notify you when a new property hits the market. Are there any specific areas or price ranges you're interested in? Okay, now if you click on delete, it'll remove that action. So if you don't want that sent out on Christmas, that's fine. I would tell you to leave it in there only because they may not check their email on Christmas. They might check it the next day. Okay, these are all the actions assigned for this task to nurture this customer or this lead. And you can always basically pause or discontinue a campaign if you've actually connected with this campaign and you no longer need to go ahead and have this campaign be running. But this is the default campaign that is assigned to a new buyer lead once you activate it. So if you have a new buyer lead that comes in and you assign them this task of the status of new lead, it'll automatically start them on this and it'll give you tasks that you need to complete. So here we go, task due today, new lead, send a text. Right now, I could either snooze, edit this, or click done once I've done this task and completed it. Okay. Any questions so far on this? Okay, no questions so far. All right, I'm going to show you how when you are adding a contact on here, how you check the status as a new lead on here. Remember that when we're marketing in smart campaigns, you have to go in here and make sure that your status is on. And the other thing that we're going to do is over here when it says always run no, I'm going to change that to always lead is new. Okay. I'm going to click on the always run to yes. Okay. I want to run this every time I have a new buyer lead that I put in and I put the status as new lead. I want it to automatically go. Okay, this advanced triggers is something else we'll do later on. But this is, for example, if you had a lead who registers on your website, or if you're paying for paid leads and they register and they look at 2 and you get the email, that is considered a trigger that you can add that automatically also starts them in this campaign. Okay. All right. So I'm actually, let me do this real quick. Design for buyer, next, see details, run and finish. Okay, so now that it's always run as yes, I'm going to go back up here. All right, so let's use a customer we all know, Mickey Mouse. Now, email. I don't have an email for them, so I'm going to go ahead and get an email. This is actually a useful website if you guys want to register for something, but you don't really want to give your own email address. You just go to 10minutemail.com, 10minuteemail.com. It only has one E, and it'll give you essentially a email address for 10 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Okay, email, come back here. All right. And this is a legitimate fake email. Right, but it'll allow KVCORE to enter this contact without me having to put an actual email in there. I'm not going to assign it a phone number. I'm going to come in here and say yes for me to have permission to email them. And then you're going to come down here, click buy, and the lead status here has to be new lead. Because remember, this was the trigger we selected for this campaign to start running. So I'm going to click on add contact. Let me go ahead and go back and redo this email real quick. There we go. We got a new email address. Copy. Notice there's only 9 minutes that this email is going to be valid. Let's do that. All right, Mickey Mouse is here. It's a new lead. And guess what? The campaign is already added. You see that? It automatically added this campaign. So it assigned you a task, because remember, that was the first thing, was to send a text message to this lead. So what I can do is either I can snooze it, right, for 20 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is. I can click done if I've already done it, or I can come in here and edit this task. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I got Mickey Mouse and I send them a text via my phone, or I had their phone number and I could send a text via KVCORE. I'm going to go ahead and, which is right here, but they don't have a valid phone number right now, so it's not available. So I'm going to click mark done on here. Okay, now if you take a look now over here, I can see the other 39 future actions. So again, tomorrow at 7:14 p.m. right here, it's going to send this email. Now, this email that we created obviously is fake, so that email is going to probably bounce back. But I'm just going to show you guys how these buyer leads can automatically be nurtured by KVCORE's Smart Campaign, especially if you have that trigger set up so that as soon as you have somebody who's a new buyer lead comes in, boom, the campaign already starts right there and then. Okay, any questions so far on this? All right, no questions so far on this, but here's the other thing that I'm going to also share with you, but this is more of once you've set up and you have some good practices in place. If you don't want to be the one who's trying to reach out to these buyer leads or to nurture them, you do have the option as well to go ahead and start core concierge follow-up. What this is that KVCORE will actually have a team that within 30 seconds will reach out to that lead. So as soon as that lead comes into KVCORE, it starts up, adds to the buyer campaign, and here the lead concierge actually tries to reach out to them, okay? Every lead will be tagged so you know the status of the timeline. 8 to 12 days of consistent follow-up. So this concierge will take care of that for you guys. And there is a charge for this. It's $350 a month for 50 contacts. Now, do I recommend having this? Not yet, until you get those habits down yourself, because a lot of times if you're lead generating, you should be doing the calls yourself. But if you get to the point where you just don't have the time or you don't have the discipline, then this lead concierge may be a way to go, especially if you're generating online leads or you're getting leads that are coming from like a paid source that you need to be able to quickly reach out to and connect with, and make sure that it's even though this is automated where you've got these tasks and reminders and emails going out, that having that human touch or that consistency that everybody is being reached out to is very important. So lead concierge is really important for you to take a look at once you've got this down. What I would recommend is that at least for the first 10 or 15 leads, if you have them as buyers, you have them on these campaigns, you do the activity because it's going to be assigned to you as the agent. If you have a team and you're part of, they're part of KVCORE, you can actually assign that task to the team member who's responsible for that actual lead. Okay, Lizette said, replaces the agent calling or answering. That's correct. It does do that, especially on the initial contact. Essentially, they're a team member on your team reaching out to these leads. Chris, so helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that, Chris. Okay, so any questions so far on that? Any clarification anybody wants? So feel free to come off mute and let me know if there is anything of that nature.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I have a question about the smart campaigns. You have default buyers or sellers, but mine names is conversion default buyer. Is it the same?
It can be. If you go to your KVCORE library under marketing smart campaigns, this KVCORE library has a lot of these campaigns already built out. So it's probably could be this one right here. Conversion starter for buyer leads.
It's with K.
Let me
Um,
see.
Yeah.
These
Right.
right here, yeah. All of these are just basically a sequence. So for example, if I'm going to look at conversion default buyer and click on add to my library, what it's going to do when I go back up here to my campaigns is now I have this as an option as well. But as right now I have it turned off. So I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it, right? I'm going to come in here. Okay, day one, text message. It's going to send it from the system, right? It's going to send it right from the system. Now, the only thing is that if they don't have a phone number or you don't put a phone number for them, this step will not go because there's no phone number for it to send out. Again, perfectly fine to have that as long as what the tasks are that are happening are things that you want done. One of the things I don't necessarily, I wouldn't say I don't like, but it's better in this one, is this actually does this task day one versus on the other campaign, on this one, it does it immediately. The moment it's added, it starts it, right? On day one, it could be taking 24 hours or 12 hours before that action actually starts. I wanted to be, if they were on my website or if we added them to the software, the CRM, I want that gone right away. So I like this one being immediately. Now you could go back into this campaign in here and edit this, and here, I guess it won't let you edit this day one. Actually, I might be able to. I can do this and do run immediately. You can do run immediately and save it. And now this text message goes out immediately, right? I don't want to have that delay because remember, if you have a buyer lead, especially if this lead comes from an online source or they registered on your website, you want to make sure it goes out immediately on that. What I showed you guys in these campaigns is just one or two of them. You can go through this KVCORE library over here and add all of these campaigns, or I would look through them first and add them to your library, and you can start running them, assigning your contacts that are in your database to these. But I would caution you on this thing. The first thing I would do is I would also make sure that you know what these campaign steps are and what's going out. Okay, so you can actually view this and you can actually see all these things that are going out. So that when you actually get it, you're actually able to see what's actually going out to them. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions that you guys have? You could play, I would go through, spend some time, block out some, maybe like a half hour, and go through some of these campaigns, because if you have past clients and you don't have them on any type of a specific campaign that's going out, you can go in here and there's past client, prospect, renter, whatever it is, expired. All these campaigns are here that you can actually use to have that. Now, the key for that is if there is an actual step in there that's assigned as a task, you have to make sure you get those tasks completed. And those, when you go into your dashboard and you take a look in here, you should be able to see kind of the tasks you have for that day. So for example, if I click here, it'll show me all my tasks that are due today, right? Anything that's might have been passed to as well. So today, cash buyer had to send a text to them. I did it. So now there's no more tasks left. This is kind of like your to-do list, electronic to-do list on your database, if you have people properly set up on campaigns and you have assigned tasks to them in those campaigns as well. Lizette, I think you might have had a question.
Yeah, so I went to my campaigns and I have a smart campaign.
Okay.
So there was 3 of them
Mhm.
that were there. Yeah, they're like that. Yeah. I don't have the conversion one or open house. Were these like generic or somebody? Because I think I paid somebody at the beginning to do something. I don't remember what it was.
So
But
yeah, these are included with KVCORE. So everybody should have these campaigns in there. the good thing is you can actually go ahead and edit these out. So for example, let's say, you know what, I don't want this email to go out yet. I don't want an email to go out until I've talked to them and I know that their email is accurate, or they're going to check their email so they don't unsubscribe. So I can click on remove that. It says, are you want to remove this action? Yes. Now, if you notice on day 2, it's going to prompt me to call, and it's going to send a text message automatically from the system to the contact, but that email is now gone. So if you wanted to, you could go in here and go ahead and remove or customize the campaign. Now, when you remove this, it applies to everybody who's in this campaign or will be added to this campaign. It'll just remove that email step. If I want to add an action, I could just click on here and it tells me, what do you want to do? Let me see. I want to go ahead and email, and then it tells you what template do you want to use. What do you want to write in here? Name, from, who to, when did it go out? You can save and you can add that stuff in there. Okay. What I would recommend is, if you don't have anything going on right now, just let the campaign run as it is. And then as you see what kind of engagement you get, or if you're falling behind, let's say, for example, you're not calling yet based on, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 calls in the first 6 days that it's asking you to make. And if you're not making these calls, then you might want to change one of these to a text message or an email, or assign this call task to someone else to do, because then this campaign may not be as effective as to reaching out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would recommend that when you go in here, you've got this KVCORE library available of campaigns. Okay. But you don't have to have all of these. Just look through which ones you want, and then you can add them here by clicking add to my library. And then under your campaigns, it'll show here. And then you could toggle them on. And then you can also tell them what the status is. So this is status for a seller. So let's say you had a for sale by owner that you added to your KVCORE, and you put them as a new lead, right? You can see in here in this seller campaign what they're getting. Email immediately goes out when the contact comes in. It's going to assign you to make a call, leave a voicemail, call, don't leave a voicemail, call, leave a voicemail. And then day 5, you send a text. Did you get a CMA email? If you're not sending a CMA, you can actually edit this, okay? Or you can remove it if that's not what's going to be going in there. All right. So these active campaigns require you to kind of look through them and see what you got. But if you've got leads in KVCORE, or you've got contacts in here and you haven't put them on a smart campaign, or you're not reaching out to them, this is a great step to start to get some engagement and get them kind of reached out to. All right. Any questions on those?
I have a question.
Go ahead. Who's that?
So I don't want to mix 2 things in one, but I know you're doing that other platform. Do you remember the one that you signed up, the Stack Lead?
Yes. So we have Brevity, which is our other CRM, and then Agent Hub is kind of like our outsourced, basically. How do I say it? It's our outsourced staff that reaches out to leads and nurtures them on our behalf, on the team's behalf.
Okay. And I don't mean to I just wanted to know if you work these together.
Yes. So we work 3 together. And the reason we do that is because I don't want to be relying on one software or one system, only because let's say tomorrow KVCORE is bought out, or KVCORE is no longer available to us. I don't want to be dependent just on one and have to switch everything over to something I don't know how to use. That's one. Secondly, there's limitations to all the CRMs. Like I want one to do something that the other one doesn't do. So for example, we have 3 MLS memberships, but I only have 1 registered here in KVCORE. The other one, which is doing Showcase IDX as our website, is registered for all 3 MLSs. So that's a little bit more, I guess, complicated. But it's because we have the need for that. If we only had one MLS here in the area, then I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't even have that. I would just keep using KVCORE. But because I have multiple, I found that it's easier for me to use Showcase IDX to be able to feed them in than KVCORE. Even though KVCORE does support multiple MLSs, it's not as smooth as Showcase IDX.
Okay.
The critical component is on a daily basis, do you have the time and discipline and blocking to make these calls, make these task actions, review on it? The way I look at it is this way. If you were running a hospital and this is your ICU, right? This is your intensive care unit. Every day you come in here, you got to look, and there's patients who are in need of some kind of attention. But if you're not able to come in here every day or check it every minute, then you got to have someone else or something that does that. Because if you're not reaching out to it, they can easily be on Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, any other website, and that pretty much now that lead is gone. And the reason I say this is because if you take a look at Zillow, for example, Zillow allows agents to advertise in certain zip codes or certain areas for buyer leads. One of the things that they've noticed is that Zillow can actually live transfer leads to you by them doing the response. So immediate response, and then they either live transfer the lead to the agent who's paying for that zip code, or they can go ahead and put that in that agent's leads as leads that are not live, but they express an interest on this property in this zip code. All right. So here's the thing though. For most of those zip codes, because I was on a call with Zillow last week to find out what availability there is, how much it costs, and what the conversions are. For most zip codes around the Lake Mary, Sanford, Florida area, it was roughly, in order for you to get 3 to 6 connections a month, was roughly about $1,000. So you break that down and say, okay, if it's, let's say it's 10 connections a month at $1,000, you're looking at $100 a connection. And all a connection means is that they're just basically sending you that lead live, and you go out and either show them the property or talk to them about the property. What does your conversion have to be to make up your $1,000? And that comes only from closings that may not happen for 30, 60, 90, 120 days out. Well, they actually have the conversion numbers of the people who are actually paying in those zip codes. And the conversions were not that great. They were like 2 to 3 times. So if I'm paying $1,000, but I'm only closing 1 or 2 deals out of it, I'm better off just not doing 1,000 and doing something like here. Maybe I'll do some Facebook ads or do open houses, or build my agent referral database and pay that, because the referral fees come out at closing, right? They're not paid up front. So in order to buy leads, you got to have the back office, or you have to have a program that can automatically do this stuff for you and allow you to have the ability to make calls, make texts, make emails, to connect with those, and really understand that when you have leads, there's a time frame where they have a need, and then there's a time frame where you're just basically dormant, right? It's not an active lead. It's not ready for them. When they have a need, that's when you get those leads where you're like, oh, wow, real estate is great. This person not only answered my calls, but we're going to go out and see. They talked to my lender, that they have cash to close. They already called the property inspector, all that, and interviewed them. Well, that's because they had a need. But the ones where you get brushed off, they don't answer your call, they're not responding to your email. Not that they're ignoring you, it's just that there is no real estate need there right now, right? So I had an attorney call me today, and a moving company actually came into our office earlier today. And well, they wanted to talk to real estate offices, right? So we took the conversation, but we really didn't have a need right now. But if I had a buyer or a seller that was about to move, I would have had a need, like, yeah, here, reach out to this buyer or seller because they're about to close, they're about to do it. Now, what they were doing is they were doing lead generation and building their database of realtors. And that's what you guys should do, is to build your database of people who you know, especially those that can like you and trust you, so that when they have a need, are you available there, top of mind for them to actually get to you, right? That's really the thing you should be focusing on. Now, I'll give you a very quick script so that when you are making a call to a lead like this, that you can use. When you call them, if they had come in, most likely they're probably looking at a property on your website, or maybe they're an open house and you got them in. One of the things you can ask them is, you know, if they found a house, is there any houses they want to go ahead and tour? Do you want me to schedule any showings for you on any of these properties that you're looking at? Even if it's properties you found on another website, I can go ahead and make sure it's available and get you the details. And by the way, who would you trust to send you properties or show that I could work with? Okay. And if you have a real estate need, who would you trust to use that? So a lot of times reaching out to these leads isn't necessarily to get them to do business right away for you. It's also to be able to use them as a source of potential referrals in the future. Okay. So don't worry if a lead is not being responsive or not being as responsive as you would like, because it may be that that need is not there right now, but it may come in the future. The only critical thing is you and I don't know when that time might be. And that's when you get that like, oh yeah, thanks, we bought last month. Well, because we probably didn't have them on a campaign or didn't reach out to them, because it's our job to keep in contact with them, not their job. Does that make sense?
Now, Ali, a question here now. So you get a brand new buyer just called you, like today, for instance, we got a call from someone and Nelson's showing them houses and stuff. I guess we just put them on a property alert, or we would put them